Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. For connectors, cables, and more, call 920-435-2973 or visit pl-259.com. And by ICOM. Heard it, worked it, logged it. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information about ICOM radios.
It's Ham Radio with Neil Rapp. Here we go. Welcome to Ham Talk Live. Call in, let's talk. Neil's your guy. Ham Talk Live. Here we go on Ham Talk Radio.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It's time for another episode of Ham Talk Live. It's episode number 144, the BeLoud Contest Station, recorded live on Thursday, December 13th, 2018. I'm your host, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ham Talk Live. Tonight, we're joined by Steve Narducci, W9SN, and Fred Dennin, WW4LL, and we'll take your calls live in just a few minutes. Last week, Keith Baker, KB1SF, was here to talk about AMSAT through the years. And if you missed that show, you can listen anytime. All you have to do is go to hamtalklive.com or your favorite podcast app or YouTube, and you can play that. Reminder about the shirts that are on sale right now, the Ham Talk Live limited edition shirt. It's May the Grid Square Be Yours. If you ordered one of those, I should be caught up with all of those. So those should be arriving. If you just ordered one in the last few days, but most of those have already arrived. But I do have a few extras left. Now, the size large is sold out, but do have a few small, medium, XL, and 2XL still available. So if you want one of those, just go to our link, and we've got that on Facebook and Twitter. It's the first link there on those, or you can go to hamtalklive.com and click on the show schedule link, and there's a link at the top there to order your shirt, and at the end it will tell you how to PayPal the cost for that. But we will be giving away two of those tonight, hopefully. Tanner Jones, W9TWJ, donated one to give away, so thanks to Tanner for doing that. And also the ICQ podcast crew. So we'll try to give those away again tonight. So get your questions ready to go, and you call in, and we're just going to take the first callers on the shirt. So all you have to do is call the phone number, so let me give that to you so you have it ready. It's 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261. And we're going to take the first two callers tonight for the shirts. So have that phone number ready. Don't call it just yet, because we're going to talk to Steve and Fred here a little bit first, so you get to know what they're talking about. But it's 812-638-4261. If you'd rather tweet us, you can do that. We're at Ham Talk Live on Twitter. And if you're on Spreaker, you can get into the chat there, and we'll watch that as well. But I'll be back with Steve and Fred right after this word from ICOM America, right here on Ham Talk Live. For the love of the holidays, surprise your favorite ham this season with the gift that's on their hot list. The holidays are just around the corner and ICOM has plenty of cheer for everyone. The IC7610, the SDR every ham wants, and just in time for the holidays. This high-performance SDR has the ability to pick out the faintest of signals, even in the presence of stronger adjacent ones. The ICOM IC7610 is a direct sampling software-defined radio that will change the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. It has RF direct sampling, 110 dB RMDR, and dual digicell. The IC7300 is changing the way entry-level HF is designed. This high-performance innovative HF transceiver with a compact design will far exceed your expectations. It includes RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and SD memory card slot. The ICR30 is raising the bar on DC to daylight receivers. Powerful yet easy to use, the ICR30 is packed full of features you have come to expect from ICOM. The perfect stocking stuffer, the ID51A Plus 2, provides new modes for extended D-Star coverage. Enjoy integrated GPS, independent AM/FM receiver, and free Android apps. For all of these products and more ICOM radios, visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information.
It's not the amount of power, it's the size of our tower.
Ham Talk Live.
Thanks again to ICOM America for sponsoring the show tonight to help bring you Ham Talk Live each and every week. Check them out at icomamerica.com/amateur. And our guests tonight are Steve Narducci, W9SN, an active contester participating mostly in CW and Ready contests. He's helped and installed 3 contest stations with antenna station design, engineering, and software modeling. He's a former CEO of a small wireless company prior to its acquisition and now focuses on contest station building and design. In 30 years, he reached the top of the honor roll at 349 for DXCC. He owns and operates a winning contest station on a high hilltop in northeast Tennessee, holding 2 U.S. records. Many top 3 finishes, and continues to push the limits with his 4-tower installation and many antennas. And Fred Dennin, WW4LL, is an active contester, primarily operating multi-op in all modes. And he's the former president of the Muncie Amateur Radio Club in Muncie, Indiana, and the former president of the Porter County Amateur Radio Club in Valparaiso, Indiana, the 2-time president of the Georgia Contest Group, and was just elected to serve as a 3rd term as the president. He's a former member of the Society of Midwest Contesters and now operates his single tower station just south of Atlanta, Georgia. He's a retired administrator from the Federal Railroad Administration, and for the last 10 years, he's worked as an expert witness, railroad consultant, and owner of a railroad construction business. So, Steve and Fred, welcome to Ham Talk Live, and we've got an all-Hoosier cast tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us here, Neil.
Yeah, we've got all 3 of us from Indiana originally, so I don't know what that means, but we'll find out, I guess. Well, you guys have been setting up a top-class contest station in Maine, and was able to hear a little bit about it down at Huntsville this year. So walk us through the process of building this station in Maine when you guys aren't in Maine.
Well, it's been a challenge to get everything going, and we had to make a lot of decisions on this project. Fred and I come together and decided that we're both contesters. We're about 5 hours apart. And so we wanted to build something very unique, something that we liked. We both are remoting into each other station as needed, so it made sense for us to build a nice remote station for both of us to use. And with all the decisions, first was finding the land, and that became a challenge. And so we had one failure on a land purchase up there. It turned out to be some paperwork issues, but we boiled it down to 25 different properties around the state of Maine. And all of these properties had to meet multiple criteria, including, they had to have a good internet connection. The land had to be accessible, had to be on grid, close to power. We wanted a rural location also that, so we didn't have a lot of noise. And it also had to meet our software criteria. We run software modeling on all the properties that, we looked at. So we wanted to make sure that, what we were going to do was going to be successful. So we gathered the list, and actually we went and visited all these properties up there. So it took some time, and we listened to the noise floor while we were there. We actually used some AM radio and some different things that we had that, where we could listen to the noise floor there. And we eventually found what we believed was the perfect site. It was a 6-month process, and it turned out to be the closest ham radio station in the United States to Europe as you can get. We're all the way in the very northeast corner of the state. In fact, it's so far northeast, it's actually closer to London, England from this location than it is to Los Angeles. So Europe's a local call up there.
Oh,
so,
wow. And I'm guessing homeowners associations probably figured into that too. You didn't need those.
We're rural. This was rural enough that we didn't have to worry about that too much, but we went ahead and did all our legwork, and we contacted the county and made sure we told them everything we were doing. And they made us fill out some paperwork and some diagrams of what we're going to do, and they actually approved everything and signed off on it. So we did this in confidence, knowing that nobody was going to say anything to us later. And it's far enough removed from town that the local town that's up there, so it was fine. But this property here met all the basic requirements that we wanted. The software modeling turned out to be the best of all the 25 that we did. The takeoff angle there was incredible. In fact, we shared some of this information with our antenna manufacturer, Ken Gard of W3JK of JK Antennas, and I sent him some of the modeling over, and he was pretty impressed. He said he's rarely ever seen property like this before, so we were quite excited about it. So once we got all the paperwork done and the purchasing of the property, it basically got done in under 4 months, and it was a fairly fast project for us, but we kind of gathered everything and got it all together. The first thing we had to do was clear the land. We had to cut the driveway in. It took a couple culvert pipes out there. There's a little bit of water that had run through, so we wanted to get that squared away. We had to put buildings in, had to get utilities out there. So there was a time frame there that all had to come together. After that was completed, we went back and during that time we actually dug all the holes for the towers and the concrete anchors and got that. So that way it could be curing before I made the next trip back. So, a lot of plane time and travel time, but we hauled tower up there. And it wasn't just little tower, it was really big tower. So the next part was basically just erecting the towers and putting them together. So we selected JK Antennas. We did real severe modeling of everything that we did. So we used software on everything. And we worked real close with Ken Gard, W3JK, and really glad that we did. So he actually beefed up our antennas a little bit more so than what a normal buyer would probably get, just because of the icing and the wind load conditions that we're going to have up there. It's a pretty extreme environment up there. So after months and a lot of hours of this, we made our choice on what we wanted to do. We wanted really large stacks on the higher bands, and we wanted some high gain antennas on the lower bands too. So we didn't really want to cut any corners. We wanted to have something that we could all be proud of and use and be successful with. And we also wanted to do some things on non-contest bands. We wanted to, like to play around on 6 meters and the work bands. And with those, we wanted, lots of elements, high elevation and some high gain. So at this point, it became a race of time, because in Maine, you don't have a whole lot of warm weather. It gets cold pretty quick, and they have much longer winter than that than we do. So we really had to get it in gear if we were going to get it up, because we wanted to be ready for this contest season. So we hired a crane that was tall enough to reach our top antenna, which is over 150 feet. So it had to be a really tall crane on the tallest tower that we put up. And in short order, the crane actually got the towers put up pretty quick, and got all the top antennas. We got mast pipes on both of those. We used the largest 3-inch chromoly mast we could get, multiple thrust bearings on them, and really big rotors up there. So and it's been great so far. So we've been real happy with it. And they got all those up for us. And the towers were extremely heavy. These are Roan 65, and they're solid leg. So I think they're around 5,000 pounds a piece. And so they, took them up. We wanted all Philistrand guy wires on them because we didn't want any steel to interfere with our stacks and our antennas, because we put antennas down the tower too. Then next thing we had to do is get buildings out there. So we had local contractors that had framed up the inside of our buildings and insulate them really well. We don't have to worry about air conditioning up there. It's the heat, because it gets extremely cold up there. So we installed security cameras, lights, heating. We put racks in there because all of our radios and amplifiers all sit in a full rack. We use flex radios. We got bandpass filters that we mount on the wall, and a lot of small items, but we can all rack mount most of this stuff. So it worked out real well for us. And the results was, well, it was nothing short of spectacular. We were really happy with the results. All this time and work and things that we had invested in this thing, in the modeling and everything, it turned out really good. We were quite pleased with it. The things that we can hear up there are just, it's incredible. We can actually hear Europe coming in. At noon, 12:30, 1 o'clock, they're rolling in. Some days a little better than others. Sometimes at 1:30, we're hearing Europe at 10 and 15 over, which is, something you just can't get from anywhere else I've heard in the United States. So it was really cool. But we're not done. We actually ran out of time because Mother Nature dictated that. So we're planning on going back up in the spring and installing some big stuff on 160. We're going to do a full-size 4-square. We're also going to do another one on 80 meters. And we got an antenna up now for 80 meters. It's just a single antenna, but boy, it's a monster. We've got it way up high in the air, and it's a lot of gain on it, and it's switchable in direction. So we're quite happy with it. But
now when you set this up, obviously you're looking at operating it remotely most of the time. Did you go ahead and set up a little bit of a shack to where, if you decided, hey, let's go up to Maine for this contest and we'll just run the contest from there?
Well, absolutely not. Because contest season typically starts in the colder months, and, come warm months, there's not much contesting. In the warm months up there, it's nice. It's, 80, 85 degrees. But there's not much contesting going on through the warm summer months. So it's pretty treacherous. We got cameras that I can actually log into and look at it. In fact, right now there's over 2 foot of snow on the ground right now. The locals tell me that the wind chill will drop down sometimes, below 50 below zero up there, and that's not too uncommon. So it's a pretty brutal environment, and I doubt I'm going to be able to drag anybody 1,500 miles up there into that to win a contest.
All right. Well, we've got a few questions coming in, and we'll want to save those for the question and answer segment. But one person here did mention, and this is Dick Bean, said that's in a rare grid as well.
It is FN 67. We made friends with. We made friends with a couple of hams up there. One was a Border Patrol agent, and one was a local policeman there. And we're only about 1.2 miles from the Canadian border, and we share the same grid with them, FN 67. And so, they tell us that they get besieged with email requests to make skids so people can work that grid.
Yeah, so that just adds that much more to the station. So that's pretty cool. Well, we kind of got on the idea of doing the show from a comment from Dr. Scott Wright, Key Zero MD, that kind of talked about you guys had noticed some differences in a build between a DXer and a contester. So let's talk about those differences a little bit, and how does that affect these builds?
Yeah, he's right about that. If we wanted to build this station as a DXer, we would have done things differently and actually a much more simplistic way. But being contesters, and we want to contest, that increase the cost, the time, and the complexity of the station. So the way we typically contest, Fred and I, we always we like to run in multi. Now we also do some single ops, but we like to run together as a team. And we've got a core group of guys that likes to contest with us. So this required a second tower and more antennas, and we want to be able to do guys on another band or even on the same band. So we had to separate our towers for interference. We had to put, band pass filters in. So we basically asked ourselves, what would be the perfect setup for multi-contest teams? So this second tower was designed to have antennas fixed in prime directions, and assisted with the top antenna that would rotate and pair up with them for a stack. So we can actually, with just flipping a switch on our computer screens in our house, wherever we are at, we can flip a stack in this direction, or, whichever one we want. We got 4 directions we can flip it into, which makes it kind of nice. And so we've got a 10, 15, and 20 on that tower that we can rotate around and flip into a stack. We also have a 4-element 40 up there. So that can assist in picking up mults and more contacts. And that's a big help. On our main tower that we have up there, it's a little bit taller tower. 40 meters is our workhorse on that band. So we installed a 4/4 Yagi stack at 140 and 70 feet. And to where, we've got the second tower has a 40 meter Yagi, and it's up at about 120 feet, and it can rotate. This way, our run station on the main tower can be focused on running. He's got a lot of fixed antennas on Europe because that's where most of the points come from, where the other tower can rotate, and he's got stacks fixed in other directions just by flipping a switch, and he can pick up those mults as he needs. So if we were just going to DX, we would not have put the big band pass filter stacks in, multiple radios, and we've got a lot of tower separation between them. So that would have, that would have made a big difference on the installation. Right now we've got actually a full set of stacks on both towers for 10, 15, and 20. So they both can run and they both have high gain at the same time. And we can actually have up to 3 operators operating simultaneously. So obviously it drove the cost up and design up and a little complexity, but we're kind of proud of it. And it works really well. We've been kind of doing some burn-in tests on it, and it works well. So the way it's set up, if we want to DX, it's great. If we want to contest, it's great. So it appeals to either way we want to do it. And there's times I just want to get on just to call CQ and work into Europe, and it's incredible. We have a lot of fun with it.
All right, and one more thing here before we take a break, because we are due for a break here. But obviously, remote operation is the main focus here. So how do you do that, and who can access the station, and is it available for, obviously you two can, but is it available for others? Well,
I've been playing with remote operation for about 10 years, but not seriously. When Flex Radio came out with their 6000 series, that kind of changed the game. It made remote operation more mainstream. So And honestly, I don't even want to buy a product today unless we can remote it. I mean, a switch or a rotor, anything. We want everything we have to be remote. So, and we also hate Windows servers. At least I do. I want everything all IP based. So, more and more hardware is starting to surface, and recently we've been experimenting with some things with IP switching and things like this. So, this has made it much more easy to remote. And 10 years ago, things were much differently than what we have today. And now we don't even have to rely on a Windows server or anything. We can just log in and go. We don't have the issues. There's no latency. We put in high-end routers up there, so there's they're rated 15 million packets per second, so they're industrial. Each station has its own internet. We have 2 stations up there basically. We got a tower at one, what we call Station 1, and a Station 2. They have their own electrical service. They have their own internet service and their own routers and everything. So they're separate, but we can join them together. So everything is remoted, from the amplifiers to the rigs to the antenna switching to the stacks. So rotors, all that had to come into the design. And we didn't want to skimp on that. So, Maine's a long way away. So we wanted to make sure that we put in stuff that we knew was going to work. And my previous career with my internet that I had with the company, we had different hardware platforms, and the decision became easy. We installed rack-mounted cloud routers on each tower. These things are incredible. We've done burn-in tests, and we just can't believe after 4 days they're just sitting there cranking away, just like it's just like a radio in your house. So without having servers up there, it makes life a little easier. Right now, we're just enjoying it. We call CQ, and we create pileups in seconds. On any band that's open right now. It doesn't matter if it's 40 meters or 10 meters. If it actually becomes open, we're just one of the we've been told we're one of the loudest stations that they can hear. Getting on 40 meters at noon in the day and working into Europe and breaking pileups. I worked the Echo Papa 6 in Iran, broke over a European pileup at 12:30 in the afternoon, and I couldn't believe it. So it's just using it makes a believer of you. But the propagation from there is very different from what it is from here. So that's one of the big things that we got from the station up there. And right now, as far as being able to use it, we actually have a core group of guys that contest with us, and so we actually have it, and we've discussed rental and other guys being able to use it. We've got a few guys that want to use it that we've let on the station. So basically, we're going to have some updates on our website. If they want to go to BeLoud.us, we'll have some updates on there. And we've discussed the rental of this, so it's something new, and we're still working through the logistics of this. But it's everybody that we put on the station, from friends to strangers. We put a couple of friends of ours that they just couldn't hardly believe how easy it was. The software works really well. The hardware is working well, and it's all very fast. So there's hardly any latency with it, and that was important to us.
All right. Sounds like a great plan, and you guys will be able to finish that up. Of course, I suspect, like most projects, it won't ever truly be finished, but it'll be closer. It'll be closer. So, all right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines and take some of these questions from Twitter and take some calls live. So, again, the phone number, 812-638-4261. So, we'll take a break. We'll come back, and then we'll open up the phone lines and take calls with Steve and Fred right after this word from Tower Electronics right here on Ham Talk Live.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm having an antenna party and I ran out of PL259s.
Oh, come in.
Thank you.
Would silver-plated PL259s from Tower Electronics be too good for your guests?
Those will be fine, thank you. You saved my life the other night.
Oh, the PL259s from Tower Electronics?
Yes, they were very successful at the antenna party. My antenna works like a charm.
Then how can you ever thank me?
I'll try to think of something.
Don't be caught without PL259s. Visit Tower Electronics at a Hamfest near you, or visit them online anytime at pl-259.com, or call 920-435-2973. They have adapters, cables, antennas, soldering supplies, and meters too.
Join the conversation. Give us a call at 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261. Now, here's more Ham Talk Live.
Oh, yeah. You're talking ham radio, baby. You're listening to Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp.
All right, we're back here at Ham Talk Live, and thanks to Tower Electronics for helping out with the show tonight. They're going to be taking some time off. They'll be at Waukesha, Wisconsin on January 5th, and then Fort Myers, Florida, St. Charles, Illinois, Collinsville, Illinois, and Arcadia, California in January. So you can give them a call or visit them online at pl-259.com until they're back out on the Hamfest rounds. And Ham Talk Live is on the air every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here at hamtalklive.com. And be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So now is the time. So it's time for your calls. If you have a question for Steve and Fred, we're opening the phone lines up right now at 812-NET-HAM1. It's 812-638-4261. Or you can tweet Ham Talk Live. And also tonight you can win a limited edition Ham Talk Live Grid Square shirt just by calling in. And in the spirit of Christmas camaraderie between podcasts, ICQ Podcast is happy to sponsor one Ham Talk Live t-shirt for tonight's first audio caller to Ham Talk Live, and wish all the Ham Talk Live listeners a peaceful and calm Christmas holiday season. And also Tanner Jones, W9TWJ, donated a shirt to give away tonight along with the ICQ crew. So two lucky callers tonight will win one, and the phones are going nuts here. So we'll get some questions in here, and I believe we have a call on the line right now. Okay, there we go. Maybe we didn't get added. Okay, now we have a call on the line. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, who do we have here?
Yes, you have Denny, WB9MSM in Watertown, Wisconsin, a true Badger.
All right, very good. Well, we went a little north of Indiana tonight. So what's your question here for Steve and Fred?
Yeah, I actually have a couple of them there, and my one question that I have, and I'm actually very interested to know, has this ever been done before? To the extent that they have done this, I've been listening, and I'm just in awe of all that they've been doing, and it seems like such a complex project that I'm just amazed at the complexity of it, and I'm just wondering if it's been done before to this extent, that they've accomplished this.
Well, Denny, good evening. We know of at least one other individual or group of individuals that has done this successfully. And, when we first envisioned building this station in Maine, we had no pre-design on renting it out. It was simply going to be our DXing contest station. However, we had several people that contacted us about renting the station on a daily basis or even for contests. So, excuse me. So, we have the ability to get people on the air now, but, we've hired a software engineer to further enhance that process. And, anyone interested in renting it out should go to our BeLoud.us website and give either one of us a call, and we'll be happy to talk to them. But yes, to answer your question, there is one other successful company doing this already.
Very, very interesting. Hey, another question real quick. What is the propagation like to the west? I know to the east, you're just spectacular, but I'm just kind of curious, do you get into the Pacific pretty well too?
Actually, I've been on a couple of times into the Pacific, and it's really quite good. It's actually, I've got this is Steve, W9SN. I've got a contest station in Tennessee on a pretty good hilltop and good elevation. But even towards the Pacific, the main station we got will beat it. When Japan opens up, it's a nice opening. We can run Japan up there very, very loud. Those signals up there from there will be, 15, 20 over 9 when the band is open. It doesn't happen too often lately, but we've caught it a couple times. And some of the DX pileups out in the Pacific, there was an Alpha 35 recently, and there was a couple others. I can't remember the calls, but we were able to break them on the first and second call. It was fairly easy.
Last but not least, there, guys, I'm just kind of curious, will we be seeing anything in the QST, or will you be doing a YouTube at all that shows what the antenna structures look like and the area there? I'm just kind of curious. You think that's in the plans? We
fully plan to do that, Denny. We'll have a coming out party, if you will, when we roll it out in its entirety. Right now, until we get the total software package done, we're kind of doing this in 2 steps. So we'll have an abbreviated software package where we could get people on. We can get them on now, but it'll smooth the process out here in the short term. And then, we have the development of the web client taking place, and it'll make life much easier for everyone to log in. At that point in time, we'll be doing full page spreads and QST and.
I just want to compliment you guys on this. It sounds so exciting. I like I said, I'm in awe. So I thank you very much for taking my call and taking my questions. I appreciate that, and I look forward to maybe sometime talking to you guys on it. Very, very good.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for calling in, Denny.
Yeah, 73, and again, good luck with this project. It sounds really, really exciting.
Thank you, 73.
All right, and Denny, we'll send you that Ham Talk Live T-shirt from the ICQ crew. So congratulations on that, and thanks for calling in.
Yeah, do you know what size?
Yeah, I'll get with you on email afterwards. We'll drop you an email. All right.
Sure. Thanks a million. Yeah,
okay.
Take care, Neil.
All right.
Look
You
forward
too.
to your next program too.
All right. Thank you. 812-638-4261 is the phone number, and the phones are really lighting up. And we've got another call from a little ways up north. So good evening, Paul.
Well, good evening, Neil. How are you?
I'm good.
And good evening to you as well. Steve, I'm in Valparaiso, Indiana.
Yeah, hello.
And I understand that you, being the former president of the Porter County Amateur Radio Club, I am the current president of the Porter County Amateur Radio Club.
Hey, Paul, this is Fred, WW4LL. That was me that used to live in Valpo.
Oh, it was you?
Yeah. So
when were you president of the club?
Well, I was up there from 83 to 95, and I had various seats with the club there over the years, and I can't tell you exactly which year it is, but I can tell you we were still in the old tech building. I don't know if you all are still meeting there or not.
Oh, well, depending on which old tech building, most of them are gone now. But no, I've only been president this year, but I saw that, and I thought that was cool. This station you're putting together is all of these big contest stations are amazing, and just to see the technology and what it takes to put all of those radios and all of those antennas in one space and make them work is always fascinating to hear. So this is a cool story to be following.
Well, we were always getting beat by the guys on the East Coast, and they were good operators to boot. But having been down to the Caribbean a number of times to operate, the pileups were amazing down there, and some of the rates were extremely high. And then, we didn't experience that so much from the Southeast here in the Midwest, there in the Black Hole. But when we went out to Maine, it was a new experience for us. It was much like being in the Caribbean. So it's just a different world up there.
Very good. Well, good luck with all this, and I hope everything goes according to plan, and be very interested in working it.
Well, thank you very much, Paul, for calling in, and say hello to the boys in Valpo for me.
Will do. Absolutely. We have a meeting coming up in a couple of weeks. So,
Paul Brown, WD9 GCO, one of the voices you hear on Amateur Radio Newsline. Thanks for calling, Paul.
You're welcome, Neil. Have a good evening.
All right, you too. And the phones are still lighting up like crazy, and we've got Mark Brown, N4BCD, on the line. So good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Neil, N4BCD. Great program tonight. I tuned in a little bit late. Good evening, Steve and Fred. Just a couple of questions. You may have covered these, but I'm guessing from the description of your towers and radios, I'm guessing you're going to be multi-2 or unlimited.
Well, we have our choice. We can run multi-single, multi-2. Multi-multi would be a little difficult for us right now, but we're looking at the possibility of being able to do that. But, that takes more operators, and it's a little out of our comfort zone from what we've been doing, obviously. But we're real comfortable with multi-2 and multi-single.
Wow, that's great, and I'm sure you guys have worked out the latency on the internet there. But I tuned in, like I said, a little bit late, but I can relate, to you guys working Europeans at midday on 40 meters. I operated a couple of years ago from K3LR, and it's just a real treat. It's really incredible the propagation difference you see up there in the Northeast compared to my home, QTH, in Fayetteville, Tennessee, and Fred's over in Georgia. Probably a similar propagation there. But are you guys planning? I heard another caller ask if you were planning to do a YouTube or anything. My question is, are you planning to unveil this with further detail at Xenia, either in a forum or at Contest U?
We, excuse me, we've not spoken to Tim Duffy about doing anything at Contest U. However, we have been asked to speak in a couple of different podcasts like this, and we want to get the all the components smoothly operating, before we do a total rollout. But there will be an unveiling of sorts when we're up to speed with everything, Mark.
Excellent. Have you guys consulted with Craig K9CT? I know he's running flexes in a contest environment. Have you learned from him on this project?
We have talked to Craig a number of times over several months, and Craig's a good friend, and we email periodically. But we've talked to Flex Radio directly, and we've talked to Craig about some of his experiences as well, and he's a great guy, and he's very willing to share. So we appreciate that very much.
Excellent. Well, you guys, I'm drooling over the description of your two towers, and I just can't wait to hear what more this thing, this station can do in a contest. You guys have really put together something special here. Have fun with it, and good evening. I'll turn it back to Neil. N4BCD, good evening.
Okay, Mark, thanks for calling in again tonight, and congratulations. We'll send you a T-shirt too here, so congratulations on that, and thanks for giving us a call again. Okay, we've got another call on the line, and I know we've got a couple more trying to get through, so let's see who we have next.
Hello? This is Mike, W9RNY. Hello.
Good evening, Mike. What's your question for the guys here?
Well, I just thought I'd give a testimonial. I've done a lot of multi-op with Steve for over 13 years and also with Fred. And I've ran that actual main station from a hotel room in Carbondale, Illinois. I live in Jacksonville, Illinois. But I ran that about a week ago on just run DX from 0400 to from 000 Zulu to 0400 Zulu. I made over 50 contacts into Europe on 40 meters when the band was not open great, and 2 into Israel. So I've ran also the contest a couple times with them. So it's an awesome station.
Very good.
Yeah, hello. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Fred.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in about that. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said, Fred, I didn't tell you I put Mike on there the other night. Now you know.
Yeah.
That's one way to find out, right?
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
deal.
that's
Good
right.
deal. Glad you enjoyed
That's
it.
good. Oh yeah, it was fun, and look forward to much more. But I just wanted to give a testimony. It's a fantastic station. These guys are awesome, and they work tirelessly to get everything going. It just works great. And I'll just leave with one comment, and that's you want some candy?
You want some
I'm out of
candy,
here.
Mike?
I do want some candy. All right, I'll get out and talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot for letting me in.
See you, buddy.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for calling. All right, we've got another call in line. It's Carl, KD9HQT. Good evening, Carl.
Hey, Neil and everyone. I just have a question slash comment, but hopefully you can hear me because I'm actually driving on 969, so I'm actually in Norfolk, Washington, driving home from Evansville. About the contest station, okay, about that. When my dad moved to the house where my parents lived in 1985, my dad's ham shack, where it is located now, was once a garage. And when they got rid of the garage door and my father converted the garage into a workshop, he also converted the portion of the garage into a ham shack. So basically, he I think sometime in the 90s he put some installations around the ham shack so it can get kept warm inside the shack. And before he actually moved into the house after he got married, my mother. And if you guys want to know, my father's call is WB9EWF, that is Whiskey Bravo 9, Echo Whiskey Foxtrot. My father used to live in Floxmore, Illinois, which is where my grandmother's house is. And my dad has a 70-foot tower, and currently right now he has 3 VHF and he has 3 antennas. He has a 2-meter single sideband antenna, a 70 centimeter single sideband antenna, and this is a rare type of antenna that most amateur operators don't operate on. He also has a 23 centimeter antenna. So that's my comment. But the question is if you want to operate on VHF or UHF contesting, and the antennas were made in the 70s, and the tower itself was made in the 70s, and would you consider a station that has 5 or 6 transceivers compared to my station, which is only 2? How would you define a contest station if it's 5 transceivers and one big tower compared to a station that has like 2 transceivers and just a simple dipole?
Well, I think
that may be getting into a little bit of what we were going to talk about with Fred, with maybe a more modest setup. Maybe that's kind of ties into that. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So, if you're asking about, what do we suggest for someone trying to build a more modest contest station, and looking at some of the important pieces to include in the station. I would say that you focus on your selection of the antennas for the type of contest that you want to compete in. And I think it's the single most important consideration. For example, if you can't install a tower and you can only put up wire antennas, for example, then optimize those for the mode that you prefer. The contest that you think you can effectively compete in, and you orient those antennas to maximize your coverage performance. If you can only install a short tower, like under 100 feet, then you may want to use multi-band antennas. If you want to run multi-op with those multi-band antennas, then you're going to need to consider buying a triplexer. You may also want to just specialize in contesting on one band and put up a huge rotating 40-meter beam, for example, if you think that's the area that you can be most competitive. The rig and the antennas are personal preferences of the station owner. But for us, we chose, and we like flex radio and we like JK antennas. Those work quite well for us, but to each their own. Knowing the capabilities and the functionality of your rig may be the second most important piece to this. There's a lot of people out there that own radios that are capable of diverse functionality. However, some of the owners simply don't fully familiarize themselves with the full breadth of what the radio will do, what capabilities the radio has right in front of them. So those are some of the considerations.
Yeah, one time my Bryant, and especially the antennas that my dad chose, was because the antennas were horizontal and not vertical because of the polarization on VHF and UHF. There was one time my father contacted and this was extremely rare, and this will probably only happen once in a lifetime. My father actually contacted a station in Mexico on 2 meters, but there was a huge tropo band opening, and after he contacted that Mexico station, a bunch load of U.S. stations contacted my father, and he only got one state, and there was like a pile-up that he was receiving because of how strong his signal was, because his antennas were up like 70 feet in the air, and there was a pile-up, so during the pile-up, he actually picked up a Florida station, and he said to me that this was the longest DX on 2 meters sideband.
Oh, awesome. Good for him. I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, Carl, thanks for calling in tonight, and we're going to try to get a couple more in here. We're already overtime, so we're gonna move along.
All right, Neil. 73.
All right, 73. Thanks for calling, Carl. Appreciate it. Okay, we've got a couple of tweets here to address, and I think there was one more person trying to call in. Tucker W4FS wants to know how BeLoud is able to compete with remotehamradio.com for contests, considering their own main station is a little closer, 100 miles closer to Europe and the coast. So have you compared to any other stations? We might get into some rivalry here. I don't know.
No, I mean, I haven't met Ray personally. Steve has met him and had dinner with him, and they've got it going on. So we like I said, we started this out for our personal use in the beginning, and it's morphed into to renting it out. But Ray does quite well from Lubeck up there, and so. We haven't done side by side comparisons from that neck of the woods. He does really well, and we're going to do really well. And so beyond that, when it comes contest time, like any other competition, it's going to depend on keeping your butt in the chair and operator skills, things of that nature. And so. We wish them well, and hopefully they feel the same way about us.
All right, we are going to take one last call here. We're running way over time here, but had another one that was trying to call quite a bit. So let's see who we have on the line here.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Hi, how are you this evening?
Good. Who do we have here?
Neil, this is Kilo 1. Lima Kilo Papa. It's Carmen.
Carmen. Oh, it's good to hear from you, Carmen.
Oh, Neil, I just want to say to Fred and to Steve, congratulations on their endeavor, and God bless them, and keep safe on those towers, and I want to wish everybody a Merry, Merry Christmas. Steve, Fred, congratulations.
Hey, thanks, Carmen. And I haven't worked you on 40 here in the last few weeks, but I always enjoy working you. You're a great CW out, my friend.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And Neil, those two fellas are two top-notch CW rascals. That's for sure. God bless you all, and thank you.
All right. Thank you, Carmen. Appreciate your kind words. Take care now.
Bye now.
All right. Well, we're gonna finish things up here, and there's one other tweet I want to mention here before we go, because Bryant Rascals' mother, Lauren, just posted a picture of Bryant on BeLoud.us. And so I know he had a chance to do some operating and saw that picture. In fact, I think it was a week or two ago I saw that. So talk a little bit about our friend Bryant here.
Bryant is a bright young man who is being raised by a family that I adore. They are really good people, and they're doing everything right in raising young Bryant, who is a fine, upstanding young man. He's a great contester. He will be a better contester one day. He sat down at my station a number of times, and he'll sit down and he'll run 40 words a minute on CW and won't even flinch. So they're good people, and Merry Christmas to the Rascal family. And Bryant, we look forward to having you seated with us in many more contests to come. 73.
All right. Very good. Yeah. He is a good one. So, as we finish up here, we had some other things kind of planned, and fortunately we had calls, so we didn't get to all those, but, quickly, I know you guys want to mention that this isn't the only build you're working on. You're working on some other stations and reviving a station. So let's just take a minute or two here to talk about some of the other projects going on.
We're currently down in Lafayette, Louisiana, at Dr. Pat Saunier, who's a silent key, W5WMU. Anybody in contesting knows that call. We're rebuilding that station right now. Steve's there currently, and I'll be leaving tomorrow morning and headed down there. And so we're going to put that back on as a memorial station to our friend Pat. We've got 5 other stations, one of which is Pat's, that we're going to put back on the air remotely. Steve's station is going to be remoted. Mine here in Georgia, Pat's, PJ4 Golf that are on the island of Bonaire has agreed to come on board with us, as has Hotel Charlie 5 DX, and then of course our new Maine station. And then we've got a couple other stations in Maine that's going to come on board with us here after the first of the year. So we hope to have 2 to 3 Maine stations kicking here in 2019. Once those are all completed, we got 2 more stations going on the air remotely from Maine, as I mentioned, and then we've got one in Kentucky and another one in Arizona. So we're not letting any dust settle here. We're moving out.
Sounds like an ambitious plan, and look forward to hearing how all of that goes. So I think we've caught up with all the questions here tonight, so I'm going to let you guys get out of here. We're like I said, a little long tonight, but it's been great to have all the calls. Appreciate all the calls coming in and all the questions, and some really good discussion from you guys tonight, and some good ideas, and maybe we can do another one on maybe the more modest setups for the rest of us that can't join in on the big guns. We can get the more modest ones going and talk a little bit about those. So thanks for coming on, Fred and Steve, and appreciate it. And 7-3s to you.
Thank you very much, Neil. 7-3. We appreciate it.
Thanks, and 7-3s, Neil, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right, Anna, Merry Christmas to you both and everybody out there that's listening tonight. That is a wrap for this week's edition of Ham Talk Live. Thanks to Steve Narducci, W9SN, and Fred Dennin, WW4LL, and everyone out there in cyberspace for listening and calling in. And we invite you back next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time when Josh Ward at W3ARD will be here to talk about high-altitude ballooning. And for a list of all of our upcoming guests, be sure to visit hamtalklive.com. And congratulations to our t-shirt winners. We'll be in touch by email and get those out to you. And thanks to Tanner, W9TWJ, and the ICQ podcast group for donating those to us tonight, and appreciate the opportunity to give those away. So this is Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, saying 7-3, 7-5, and may the good DX be yours.